I'm always on the hunt for some good gateway games because my in-laws, they typically like the lighter to like maybe slightly more complex light games. And I always have friends passing through who know I'm into games, so they're always like, hey, Ron, let's play a game. So I like to have different options for different people. So today we're going to look at 2 more gateway games. Let's hop in. Hey, I'm Ryan. Welcome to Board Game Journey, where you join me to play 1,000 games. The first game we're going to be looking at is Carnuta. Carnuta. So this is, on the surface, it is a pretty much straightforward, you are set collecting. You're collecting different cards that interact in different ways that score you points. What I really enjoyed about this game was how the resource, the currency is involved. You have this sun or moon side of these stones. And every time you spend them, they either kind of flip over or you do spend them. So that's the part I really want to cover with you guys. Oh yeah, I forgot this. Not a big fan of these slip covers, especially the ones that are like crucial to the game. If I could just get rid of this, which honestly it probably will naturally happen just because I'll get tired of putting it back on, or it will rip. But on the back, it doesn't have the same info. I suppose it does not need it once you learn the game because the box is pretty on the back without it, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. What's the fate of this? Time will tell. So super high level summary, you're gathering cards, and the game ends when someone reaches at least 11 cards. And once that happens, you'll look at the cards and you'll score based on their scoring criteria. So for instance, this person's starting card gives it 1 point for every mushroom and 1 point for every butterfly. So if they had this card in their little tableau, they would score 2 points for the mushroom. And then 1 point for every butterfly, which they don't have butterflies yet, but if they had this card, now they score at least 1 point for that butterfly. And then if they had this card, this 2 eggs, this butterfly card also gives them 2 points for every egg. So in this case, they would get 4 points. So really the goal of the game is trying to figure out the optimal way to gather cards so that way they kind of combo off each other. So I said at the beginning, the part I found interesting about the game is the currency, how it works. So these are double-sided runes. They either have a moon side or a sun side. So depending on the card you buy or pick up, so if I wanted to use, say let's just grab this, for example. So later on, if I went to like add this card to my tableau, this one says I need to flip over 2 suns. So I don't lose them, I just would turn them over to the moon side. Now, of course, this could be good, because later on, if I needed to say this card that says, oh, I need 3 moons turned over. Well, earlier, I couldn't buy that, right? I only have 2 moons. So I need to like either somehow turn one of those over or maybe acquire a new one. But right now, to keep it optimal, which you definitely want to do, is if I turn this over first, and then on a later turn, I could then now turn over 3 of these moons to acquire that card. Because I'm playing this game a few times now, I realized really you just want to like keep the stones on your board as much as possible because you do spend them sometimes. It's like, for instance, this one right here, if I would acquire this one for the 2 mushrooms, I have to now spend 2 moons. So if I had 2 moons here, I am now losing these and they're going to the center pile. Now these you can pick up all of one type, but you have space on your board. We'll get to the space in a second. So I really enjoy this piece of the game. It's a simple puzzle, but like a satisfying puzzle, if you know what I mean. Like I like having to think through, okay, I have the 2 moons, I'll get that one, I'll flip the 4 suns, and I'll get this card, and I'll flip the 4 suns over. Now, I know you might be thinking, but what if the card's not there? Well, the cool part about this game is you do have a reserve up to 3 cards you can keep kind of like in your stash. So you can kind of like reserve cards. That way you can make your master plans come true. The other piece I'll mention is on the board, there's 2 spots in the game that open up these slots. Right now, you can only start with 4 stones or runes, but you can acquire more empty space. Once you have at least 4 cards, and then again at 8 cards, you will unlock those spots. Therefore, you can get more and more stones, maybe buy more and more stuff on your turns. So a quick high-level recap, you're allowed to do 2 things on your turn, of which there's 4 options. So you can take a card, which you kind of talked about. You can take a card and reserve it, up to 3 of them, so that's easy. You can play a card, which then you're spinning the runes or you're flipping runes. You can flip runes, so you're allowed to then, say, flip all the runes facing the same direction. So either I flip all the suns to moons or all the moons to suns. And the last thing you do is you can take runes from the middle. So right now I have no space. Let's just say I have some space here. So my options now, do I want to take all the suns or all the moons? I only have 2 spaces here available. If I had 1 more, I could do 1 more. So in this case, if I was at 4 cards laid down and I had a space unlocked, I could then take these 3 moons, filling up my total capacity at this point in time, which would be good because now I have way more options. Just like a lot of the Reiner Knizia games I played, this having 4 options, but what you can only do 2, you feel like you always want that one more, which I think is good for a game because you never can do everything you want. So do I want to reserve 2 cards now so this person can't get it? Do I reserve 1 and play 1? Or do I somehow spend some, knowing that I'm going to get rid of some, but then I can then again take them back so that way I don't leave them open for my opponent taking them. So it's enough choices, like I said, to make this game fun, but not overwhelming. Like I taught this to my mother-in-law. She picked it up right away. We already played 3 games with her. So I do think it's pretty simple to, for anyone to really learn this game. Next up is Market Fresh. Now this is one of those random buys for me. I typically go to Barnes & Nobles with my daughter. It's like one of our things we just do on the weekend sometimes. We have a deal. We go inside, first the escalator. We gotta do the escalator first, up and down at least twice. Then we say, okay, daddy time, look at some games. And then we look at the books for her, which by that I mean toys. We look at toys. So I saw this one on the shelf, and the cover, I don't say was the reason I stopped. I did see the designers were Michael Kiesling and Wolfgang Kramer. That got me to take a second look. So look at the back. It is so new. I didn't see anything on BGG. Like really no information at all. Outside, I saw some of the components. They do have this nice kind of chunky fruit vegetable tiles that you stack up. And I thought, okay, that's cool. That's all I need to see. Good enough to make me want to try it. I will say up front that the cardboard pieces, they're lacking a little bit there. But besides that, let's just hop in and show you kind of what it's all about. So Market Fresh breaks down to 2 main pieces. The first part is you're doing your little personal puzzle here, and you're trying to stack these crates up, the best you can based on some rules we'll go through in a second. The next part, which I really enjoyed, was this little shared market board here. Depending on what you're doing here, you can place your farmers on different fruits and vegetables here, right? The reason I like this is I feel like I play a lot of games like this where it ends up being heads down a lot of the game. Or this one, because of this board, I have to kind of care if my opponent is really doing well in a lot of things that I'm not doing as well in. Because at the end of the game, say I'm up to here on carrots and they're up to here. Well, if they end it here, then I'm at this 4. So I would score 2 times 4. I would score 8 points versus they will score just the face value and only get 3. But if they could leapfrog me somehow and get to the 5, well now instead of me scoring 8, I'm now only scoring 4 and they're scoring 10. So there is some big swings to be had on this board if you're not careful. So turns break down pretty simple. Either you can draw a blind crate, just take one you don't know, kind of a random mystery, or take one you do know. Either way, you add it to your collection of your secret 3, and then you play one of the 4, you're leaving you with 3. Now, why would you play one over the other? We'll go through that right now. So out of these 4, let's just say I chose this one with the blueberry and bananas. So maybe I choose to play the blueberries this way. Now, the rule is I can place this crate on any empty spaces I want, so that doesn't matter. But if I choose to cover something up, I have to at least match the fruit or vegetable of at least one side. So in this case, as long as I'm touching the blueberries or the bananas to the bananas, I can put this wherever I want. Maybe I'll face it this way, where the blueberries touching blueberries and the bananas are in this empty space. So once you place your crate, you essentially score it. You pick either side and you score how many you can visually see at that point in time. For instance, if I chose blueberry, I only score 1 point because I only see one blueberry everywhere. But if I scored bananas, I'm gonna score at least 2 points because I got 2 bananas showing. So this scoreboard works in 2 ways. You do score whatever you score. In this case, if I score banana, I get 2 points. Plus, you also score potentially here on this track. Since no one's on bananas yet, the minimum you have to score to get on the board is at least 2. So if I did score the blueberries, for instance, I could still score 1 point. I just wouldn't get on the board because you need to at least have 2 to get on the board. If you can see here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's the groupings you need to have to move your thing up. So just to make that sense, make more sense. So if I score blueberry bananas this round, I'm on the board for 2. On the next turn, say I put another banana down and I have at least 3, well then I would just move up the same farmer. I wouldn't add a new farmer, I would just move it up. The reason I would do that is what I said earlier, the higher you get up, and if you're in the lead at the end, you'll double that score. So if I can get to like the 7, for instance, I would get 14 points for that because I would double it. And if my opponent only goes to the 2 or maybe none at all, I can keep their score low because they're only scoring face value. So I'm definitely incentivized to try to get above them where I can. So let's just fast forward to let's just fast forward near the end of the game. So I will draw a random tile. Let's say I get this one, and maybe I'll go for the dragon fruits. So I'll put this one here. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dragon fruits. I'm currently at 5, so that moves me up 1 more. So if I stopped here, I would get 12 points, because right now I don't think my opponent's going to catch me this close to the end of the game. And you can see here kind of how we're doing this. You know, at a two-player game, it's pretty easy to track. You can see exactly what my opponent's doing and where I'm leading and what they're leading. You know, like for instance, on the strawberries, you know, I think maybe on my next turn I'll be able to jump up and maybe get ahead of them, right? I'll be curious how this game plays at 3 or 4 players. I haven't done that yet. Maybe, I don't know if it's too chaotic, but right now at 2, I found it pretty simple to kind of keep track of things. I'll be curious how a 3 or 4 player kind of maybe invites that little bit of randomness I can't control. But right now, at 2, it feels pretty good. So that's Market Fresh. It's pretty straightforward. It's very much a domino style game. Honestly, I didn't really realize it was dominoes until I really started thinking about the pieces. Definitely is a domino style game. Without the board, I don't think it would be as good of a game. This made it really fun. So, and on the other side, there's actually even a more difficult board that makes you kind of stack earlier, where this one you get a lot more freedom, so you can kind of lay out and spread out early. Well, this one's going to force you to start making some choices early. So, and I think there's also a variance of how you score. Right now, you're just scoring 1 point for everything visible. There's some scoring in here that makes it more challenging, where you kind of score based on how high things are stacked. So, definitely a lot of room to kind of make this game harder or easier depending on who you're playing with. So, boom, that is Market Fresh and Carnuta. Which game are you reaching for first? I think they definitely offer something different. You know, Carnuta definitely has that more relaxed, kind of like, you know, a very satisfying puzzle feel. Like I said, with the little runes and flipping from sun to moon, I just love it. I love that feeling. It's something about the efficiency of it, which is very nice. And simple card collecting, it's great. Market Fresh, slightly more thinkier. It's that kind of game where you're just gonna be forced to make tough decisions. Like you might be trying to get the most strawberries on the board, and maybe you're trying to get to 7, and then, you know, maybe you're at 5, and you realize, shoot, if I don't start covering some of these strawberries up, I'm gonna lose the race on the dragon fruit or the lemon or the tomatoes. So you gotta have to make some of those calls early, which can be kind of painful sometimes. Like I said, the components for the fruits and vegetables, like little baskets, those are great. Those cardboard pieces are super thin. I just wish those were a little bit thicker. I don't understand. Maybe they ran out of money, I guess. Those plastic molds are just too much money that they had to skimp on the cardboard. You think it'd be the other way around, but you know, it is what it is. So let me know your thoughts down below. Which one are you reaching for first? I just definitely love to know. Always curious what you guys are into. So that is it. These are 2 games that I definitely want to try more of. They're not 100% safe in my collection yet. I have a lot of games like this. So, you know, these kind of games, I got to give a lot longer. A few more plays, different people. But right now, I do like them. I do enjoy them. I would play them both right now if you guys wanted to. So that's a good sign. It's a good sign that it's a keeper for now. But we'll see. We'll see how they end up being in the long term. So thank you guys again for watching. You know, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know any other games you want me to try. There's so many games coming out. It's hard to keep track of them all. I love to hear your suggestions. I keep buying them, which maybe I shouldn't do that. I'm buying too many games. Maybe maybe don't leave comments. No, I'm just kidding. Leave it. I have fun. I love finding new little gems. You guys keep turning me on to some really cool ones. So thank you very much for doing that. Until the next video, thank you. I'll see you again. Keep gaming, having fun, all the good stuff. All right, take care. Bye-bye.